I've been doing stand up 3 years last October. Yeah.
What kind of gave you the courage to get up on stage or something to do, or like what was the initial kind of led
Crazy.
to it?
Real estate got me into comedy,
Really?
which is nuts
Okay.
because I, my fiance and I, we started a wholesaling company back in 2019 and we were doing it remotely and we were doing it out of St. Louis. Like we were working in St. Louis. We had a boots on the ground guy that we were splitting everything 50-50. So we'd get the leads
So
and
you're not
then,
from here?
no, I'm
Oh,
not from here. I'm
okay.
from Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we were doing that remotely. And then we're like, you know what? We should, if we're going to keep doing this, we should probably move here. So then we moved here. We found a house that we were going to wholesale in Kirkwood. And then we ended up keeping it. That was the first property we ever bought back in 2020. So we had like great interest
Great
rate.
interest rate. Yeah.
It
So
was great price. It was a steal before everything got crazy. And then, we moved to St. Louis and, and then we just started keep doing wholesaling. And after doing wholesaling for a while, it did wonders for us. We were able to pay off all our debt. We were working for ourselves. We were working from home. And then I got to a point that I didn't have a community here. I've always loved stand up. I've put myself in a position financially and career wise that I have a lot of time. I'm not having to worry about getting a job. Then I took a comedy class. And then I took a comedy class at Helium that they do like for beginners. Willie Lynch Jr. He's a great comic that he was our teacher for the comedy class. And we just we just did an 8-week course. And then after that, we had like a graduation and there was like 90 people in the audience, which was like,
big audience
it
for
was a
your
big
first
audience.
mic.
Yeah, it was crazy. And after that night, I'm like, all right, this is what I have to do. Like that was the craziest feeling in the world. I love being funny. I love making people laugh. And I have so many great stories to tell. It's just up to me to go on stage and tell them. So it's yeah. So if it wasn't for real estate, I probably would have never gotten into stand up because I would have not had the time freedom and financial freedom to take the course, to take the time to do it. Especially if I had like, my fiance and I, we spend a lot of time together and I enjoy the time I spend with her. If I had to go to a 9 to 5 and then go do comedy, I would never be home. I probably wouldn't have a relationship. So working from home, working for myself has really allowed me to go hard in comedy. And I wouldn't want to do it unless I'm like going at it. So yeah. So yeah, real estate has been a blessing for me, um, especially with comedy, which is weird, but
Were you like always a big stunt growing up?
yeah,
What's favorite?
I I became a Sandman fan when I got my appendix removed in 6th grade because
Okay.
growing up we didn't have a lot of money, so we had like a TV that was still by a knob, like we had to turn the
Yeah.
knob,
Yeah.
and I had my appendix removed, and I had to stay home, and my mom had to go to work, so she's like, "Okay, what channel do you want it? Because you're not gonna be able to get up from bed until I come back from my lunch break." And um, I would like just put it on Comedy Central, and then I would just watch stand-ups
Yeah.
for hours,
The
and
30
then
minute stand up.
yeah, the 30-minute
Yeah.
specials,
Specials.
the Comedy Central presents, and
Yep.
then I would just watch stand-ups all the time, and yeah, that's how I fell in love with it. And then I started recording my own stand-ups with my video camera, and I would just like,
Like yourself.
yeah, I would just like do other people's bits.
Yeah.
But um, my favorite comedians has right now has to be Nate Bargatze.
He's great.
Yeah, Dan Soder is one of my obviously
He's great as
Shane
well.
Gillis. Joe List is like top dog. Sam Talent is really really good.
Funny.
Yeah, he's very
I didn't
funny.
hear. I didn't never heard about him until he was on Rogan. That episode had me crying
Yeah,
laughing. So funny.
he's very funny. But yeah, it's always I've always wanted, like I remember the first time I made somebody laugh like I'm like hard, and I've always loved enjoying making people laugh. I don't know. I think it's really cool like to be able to like control your emotions I think that's kind of like my sick way of thinking about it. Is like, I'm gonna make you laugh, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like a weird thing, but I think it's like
You hear a lot of them talk about like it's just a, a, a high that you'll never experience anywhere else.
yeah, it is, and it's also like a very like subconsciously dark aspect to it because why do we want to get up on stage every night? Like where did we not get the attention in our life that we need to get it now? And it definitely happens with me. Like I grew up with a single mom, and I have a bit about this, but I have a half brother that was born on the same day as me,
Wow.
same year too, like same dad, different mom. So like my
Wow.
dad wasn't there in my life because he was there with the other woman. Like we were born in the same hospital.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and like it was nuts. So that I think that really has to stem from that.
Did you ever have a relationship?
Yeah. Up until like 7, until
Yeah.
we moved to the United States because I grew up in Venezuela and then I
Okay.
moved to the United States. But I mean, up till 7, I didn't know. I mean, up till probably longer than that, I didn't know any different. Like my half brother was just my brother. I didn't know that it came from a different woman. And as I grew older, I started talking to my mom. I still have a relationship with my dad, but we talk like once a month maybe, and it's just like, hey, how are you? That's
Right.
pretty much it. But like now I have like a better relationship with my mom. We started talking about what happened, and it was like, bro, like what?
Yeah.
That is
That-
crazy.
Yeah, the chances of that happening are like,
Right.
Like astronomical.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like same hospital.
same
like,
hospital.
I can only
same,
imagine, like,
different mom.
imagine like him just at the hospital, like, you know, where's the incubator when you see all those babies?
Yeah,
And
that
he's
one's
like,
mine. That one's mine.
twins? No.
I'm sure that's a good bit. For
Yeah.
You.
And it's just like I can't even, especially as I'm thinking about having kids moving forward and having a relationship with my fiance, I cannot imagine what that was like
For
as
him.
for him.
Yeah. Oh my
For
god.
him, for my mom, for the other woman. Like it is, because my mom found out, because my dad used to be like a semi-pro tennis player.
Okay.
And my mom went to one of his tennis games and was like, she went with a friend. And she was like, hey, did you know Sylvia? That's the other woman. Did you know Sylvia's pregnant? I was like, really? With who? And the girl was like, with one of the tennis players. Like, which one? I don't know. But if I see him, I can recognize him, but I don't know his name. Then my dad comes out and then says, like, that one. That's the guy that got Sylvia pregnant. And she told that to my mom while she was 8 months pregnant with my dad. And then that's how she found out. And then it's just, it was, yeah, like it is. I'm starting to write a not a book but a story about it, just so I can make it into something, because it is kind of a crazy
Right.
thing.
Taboo,
And,
like you were talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Very taboo.
it's very taboo. So I'm writing a story about it. See if I can, I don't know, sell the rights to it so somebody can make a movie or a book or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just another way to put out my creativity and put out my life, because just to kind of be at peace with stuff like that, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
And you mentioned being from Venezuela, and living there until you were 7. Was Venezuela were you there when it was booming Venezuela, or
Yeah.
were you there as like the downturn
No, it was
of
still
Venezuela?
it was still very, very good. I don't remember it because I was 7. When
yeah.
we moved here in the year 2000, that's when Chavez got into office, and then that's when things started going
Yeah,
downhill.
she got out of there before that.
Yeah, and we didn't know. My mom, like my aunt, married a guy who became my uncle, and then they moved to the States. And my mom wanted to get away from my dad for a couple months, and she's like, "Can I just go with you guys for a couple months, bring the kids?" And then she just never went back. And then that's why we ended up here. So I wasn't supposed to move here, but like my mom was just like at a better place mentally away from my dad, and so she just stayed here. So yeah, it kind of just worked out. So yeah, no, Venezuela used to be booming. Now it's sad.
Yeah.
It is.
But yeah, I'm very fortunate. I want to get to a point in my life that I get enough financial success that I can go back and
So
give
you
back.
haven't been back since you were 7.
I've been back twice since I
Okay.
was 7. I went back when I was 16 and 18 because I forgot Spanish. My mom was pissed, so she made me go there for like 3 months, and then it helped. I mean, I never forgot it again.
Does your dad-
still speak Spanish?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does your dad still live there, or is he?
Yeah, my dad
Okay.
still lives there. And I have a couple family members that still live there, but most of them, everybody moved either to the States or to Europe or Germany. And
Well,
yeah,
well, what's that like being a 7-year-old coming to the States away from what's familiar? Like, remember any of that?
I, it was different, especially not knowing a lick of English. I remember like growing up, I used to get bullied a lot because I was overweight and I didn't speak English, and it was just kind of like, kids just being kids. Like, you're different. I'm gonna,
Make fun
pick
of
on
you.
you. Yeah, and it's just, and that's why like maybe that's another reason why I use comedy to diffuse situations because, growing up, like the I was always the butt of the joke, and now I'm just kind of like making that
Making the joke.
making the joke. So
Yeah.
it's like diffusing the situation in that way. And it was tough for a while, but then I started getting into sports, and I was bad at sports for a while, but then I got really good into sports because I enjoyed football, I enjoyed wrestling, and then things started, like I started getting my confidence because I was like, okay, good at something. And then I started getting once I started getting that confidence, I still had that insecurities. I would mask my insecurities through sports. And but then yeah, everything after high school, I went to college for like a second. And then I
Down in
went
Florida.
yeah, I went to Santa Fe College in Gainesville. It was like the sister school to University of Florida. And then after that, I went to college I took a gap year, and I'm still on that gap year. So it's like,
How old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay.
Yeah, 32. And you know what's crazy? I I could have gone to any university in the country with a full ride scholarship, and I didn't because I was just like banking on getting a football scholarship. And there's another story to go into that. But when I was in high school, my football coach was the counselor, so he would let me choose which classes I wanted to be at, and I chose honors classes with very easy teachers. So I had a 3.8
Smart.
GPA,
Yeah.
very good. I took my ACT, and I mean, I was good at getting grades. I was not a good student. I don't know if that makes sense.
Does.
So I noticed that there was a kid that was a row up and to the side that was really hiding his answers from everyone else, and he was like letting it slide here. Then I noticed we had like the same first 5 answers, and I was like, I think this guy has the same test as me. I'm gonna fail if I don't copy. I'm gonna copy this guy's test. I ended up getting a 33
Holy shit.
on my
dude.
ACT.
What the fuck?
And I was bored as hell. I was just copying this guy's answer. So I had a 3.8 GPA. I had a 33 on my ACT.
Yeah.
And I ended up going to a community college in Santa Fe College in Gainesville, Florida, because I was like, I'll get a scholarship. And I got some interest, but I didn't get a scholarship because I didn't send my tapes out. This was still a time that you had to burn CDs,
Sure.
send my tapes out. I put my tape on YouTube, and I just waited. I was like, I'll get a scholarship. And then I was like,
What position you play?
I played linebacker and then D-line.
Okay.
D-line senior year because our linebacker got in a car accident, so we had to move stuff around. But I still could have gotten a D1 AA scholarship as a D-line. I was like 215. And then I just ended up kind of letting that go to waste. And I think about that so much. And it's so interesting how often I think about it because it's like, it takes so much mental space when I think about things that could have happened instead of things that are going to happen, that it's a good reminder to be like, you have to not think of opportunities that pass because then you are going to let opportunities pass in the future. So you have to think about things that could happen as opposed to things that could have or should have happened. And so it's a good reminder for me. It's like, I got to let those stuff go. So, but yeah, it was crazy. I'm surprised that. And then I had to do like remedial classes in Santa Fe College. I was just like, I'm out of here. I don't want to do this. But then yeah, I started getting a job, and then pandemic hit, and then I started getting into real estate.